The recording started, Vedant. You can start.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So the last time we started with oof, right? So before even I begin for the topic we are going to do today, do you guys have any doubts with oof? Okay, and no response means no. Okay, voice is cracking. 1 second. How about now? Is it still cracking?
Your voice is
Fine.
fine,
Oh,
Vedant.
okay,
It's
okay.
audible.
Thank you. Yes. So before I begin, I will ask a very simple question, not related to Python, by the way. So every day, the number of people joining this class is related to some keyword in this page. Can anybody tell me which keyword is that? It's related to the number of people in that class as the number of stores are increasing. Any guesses? People who have taken maths and maths. It is just monotonically decreasing. Not very helpful, but I just want to tell. So any specific reason that people are not joining, like just because of the backlog or something? Like in the first episode, I think it was like 200 and it suddenly dropped. See, if you're facing any issues, like you can contact me on WhatsApp, right? Like few people contacted me, but if you still have any doubt,
Sir, because we have Python in this current term, that's why, and we have not completed
I
yet.
couldn't understand. Like if Python couldn't complete the time.
Yes, sir. In current term, we have Python
Okay,
course.
sure. But I think these topics are already being covered in that course, if I'm not wrong. At least the first four episodes are being covered in Python, sorry, the Python course. And the rest we are usually covered, like some of the topics are usually covered in diploma, like MAD, DBS, right? So I will come back to what we are going to do today. Just give me a second. I will open my notes. Yes, so title for this episode is file, mostly file, and related attributes, modules, and functions, right? So before I talk about what is when I go about the Python syntax related to files, the first usual question is what are files, right? Any ideas? What are files? Like in the offline setting as well, like when you go to like not now, like 30 years back or 40 years back, when you used to go, like people used to go back, not as might be, but when people used to go to banks, they had like files and folders, right? So what is the purpose of that? Right?
To store something.
To store data, to be specific, data information. We need to document. So files are needed to document things, to document, right? So this not to waste too much of time. So files are of two types. One is this is the usual classification. There can be many more classifications. One is text, one is binary. So binary are made for machine readable. So they are machine readable so that machine can read them, machine readable. And text are usual file. Text files is 3C, like .txt, .csv, .json. So .json is used a lot in HTML. CSV is used a lot in SQL, DBMS, and .txt we like it's the most generic text file we can. That's why it's the TXT, right? So before coming to file handling, so actually the topic title is not this file, it's file handling, right? You need to handle it, you need to access it, you need to read, append, and do some manipulations on them so that you can use that topic, right? The second is so the like the super parent or the super topic related to file handling is file system. File system. So anybody knows what is file system? Like it should be slightly clear with the wording itself, like nothing complicated. Anybody? Okay, so file system is just
A folder.
not technically. File system is just the system or the method or the way you organize. So it's method used by operating system to store, organize. It's like a mechanism to be specific. Manage file. In a general sense, it's used for an operating system, but file handling is like a sub part of that which helps you to create, delete, modify, or move files from one directory to the other. Right? So file handling comes under this category. So it's just like why I'm doing these kind of things, like just like in the last lecture, I talked about OOP, right? But OOP comes from a very huge topic, which is the programming paradigm sense, right? So that's why I talked about it. We can also file handling comes from the a bigger topic known as file system. Right, so now I will come back to Python. So this is the actual content. So file handling in Python. So has anybody seen file handling in Python? Like how? If you have done, if you seen that, can you give us some time? Even if you don't remember, at least you have seen. Okay. I think less than 50% have seen for sure. We have seen too many repetitive concepts. Okay, right. So yeah, I got your point. So for files, just like variables, files have a name, right?
Bye. Bye.
Right? So just like a variable which stores something, so just like a variable, store something, variable, store something, and variable is associated to a name, right? So you want to talk about this portion of the data which is associated to a variable, so you have a name for that variable. Similarly, file also has a name, right? So that's how you associate data to something, right? So you have data which has some name, also known as file. In Python, one of the way to open it, like I'm just writing a generic statement, we need to fill some details in that. So generic syntax is insert file is equal to open. Yes, hello.
Hello. Sir, your voice is
It's not
not clear.
one second. Hello, now it's better. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what I was telling in Python, the usual syntax is
Yes,
you
sir.
just write not this f. You can write any variable name equal to open file name, and this file name has to be in quotes. I'm just writing a generic format of opening a file in Python, comma, a mode. Mode is also a string. So one thing you should remember, this is a string, and even the mode is a string. So I will tell what is mode. So there are like too many details here which I need to fill up. Right. So here the first thing, this variable name, some variable will be equated to a file which I've opened. So in some way it's a file object. If you see, this open will help me create a file object, right? Which I'm associating to a variable name. So for example, it could be f is equal to f is a variable which will associated to this, which will be associated with this file object. So f is equal to suppose open mark. So suppose there is a text file or some file which has marks, right? In some way, marks. Suppose I'm opening it in reading mode. So for reading mode, I have R. I will also talk about these modes. So there are like a lot of modes in Python, and you need to be very specific what kind of mode you need to use. So yeah, I will do them right now. Just give me a second. Different. Okay, is this syntax clear to you guys? It's very simple, right? You write a variable name is equal to open, then file name and mode. File name should be clear. It depends what kind of file you are talking about. So here, in file name, we can also put directory. right? So the thing is, if your actual not collab, just forget about collab. Collab works very differently from actual local system. So if you have written a Python file which is asking to open a file, right? So if the Python file and the file you want to open is in the same directory, then you don't need to write the directory. But if suppose your file which you want to open through your Python file is somewhere else, right? So in a different directory, you don't know like where is it right now. So you just copy paste the directory and paste it instead of the file name. That's the thing. That's all. Right? Note is something you need to know. Until they're in the same directory, you can't just write the file name and you would be done. You need to have the full directory. Right? So they are also different kind of mode to open file. So usually I've seen like people get confused in these. Even I get confused. Not a very big thing. Sorry. Right? So I will write more. So there are three things we need to keep in mind. So usually when people write these kind of modes, just write the description and the mode. But there is one more parameter we need to take care of. Mode, their functionality. What if file doesn't exist? File doesn't exist. So I usually study this in terms of three parameters. First is the name, what is the mode, then the function of that, and what if the file does not exist. People usually skip that. So first is R mode. So one thing I'm going to reiterate that whenever you write the mode, it has to be a string. So you will put that R in quotes, right? Just remember, put in quotes. Any character whichever you write in Python, which is not a keyword, you have to write within quotes. Right? So first is a reading mode. So read mode. And it is default. In the sense, if I have written example, f is equal to open. Suppose there is a text file named hi.txt. If I don't give any input at the parameter, I will just use the read mode, right? So default by default means if you don't give the specific value of the mode, it will be opened in the read mode, right? So the constraint for this is file should exist. If the file does not exist, it will give me error. Should exist. Let me mark it as well should exist, right? Is the read mode clear? Rest of them will follow accordingly, right? So is the read mode clear to you guys? It's a default setting, right? Yes.
Yes.
Now I have W, which is write mode. We will see example also. We are going to use it write mode. So for this, if it exists, then it's fine. So there are two cases. If it exists, still don't need to take care of anything. It will write in the same file. If it doesn't exist, does not exist, it creates a new file. Creates a new file with the same name, by the way. Same new file with same name. So if I written open, so I will give example f is equal to open hi.txt in quotes W. It will create a new, if suppose hi.txt does not exist in the current directory, it will create a new file with same name. Same name. Right? And third is append. This is also known as append mode. So any guesses? Does this require you to have a file? What are your guesses? Will it create a new file, or it will, if it does not, if file does not exist, what will it do?
Create a new
Creates a new file. Let's see. If it exists, it's fine, right? So there's one more thing. So the difference is, okay, I have not mentioned. In write mode, if the file exists still, but in a sense, it overwrites. In a sense, whatever was written in that file, it will vanish, right? Here also, I will just copy paste these things. Yes, Roshni.
So what is the meaning of
So append
append
means
meaning,
just
sir?
adding at the end. So if you have seen the append function in list, it just means adding at the end. In the sense, if your file was already existing and you had some text written there, so it will start writing from whatever was written there. So if suppose the line in that text file was I am Bardhan. So if I use append mode, if I want to write something using some function, if I write it, it will just add after I am Bardhan. That's all.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you, sir.
So if it exists, then it will add things from where you left. Right, that's all. But if it does not exist, it will create a new file. So can you see the difference between write mode and append mode? Write, if you use the write mode and in the file exists, whatever the content was there in that file would be gone, right? I will mark this also. If it exists, it will overwrite. It will add things from where you left. That's all. Now, similarly, we have like two, three, I think three variants of these read mode and write. Let me just put it here. One is R plus. So it read and write both, and file must exist. So firstly and most important, if you don't remember the last three, that's completely fine. It also reads and writes, but the difference is if file exists, it overwrites as usual. So whenever the W is the dominated one, so here W plus in W plus W is there, right? So that means if file exists, it will overwrite. And A plus is just read an append. So read is common, rest of things are just changing. It creates files if it does not exist. But if it exists, it will continue writing on that. It won't just remove everything. Right? So just go over this for 30 seconds and then I will ask questions to a few people. Not few people, I will ask it. I'm not pointing towards anyone. Okay, now quick time. So my question is, if I am using write mode and the file does not exist. So question is, what's the right question? Write mode and file does not exist. DNA, right? So what will it do? Can you tell me? Yes, so it will create file with same. Now, second question: if I opened a file with read mode and file does not exist, what will happen? Yes, some kind of error will come. Correct. Right? So you guys are slightly getting comfortable. So last question: if I open something, yes, you will get there that file does not exist. That's correct. So if I have opened something with append mode and file exists, then what will happen? Yes, so it will keep on updating it. So updating in the sense, updating is the opposite of antonym kind of for overwriting. So update is just whatever was there, it is there. I'm just adding to it. So just update the file. Right. So last question for promise is the last question. No mode given and file exists. What will happen? Yes, correct. So just reading. Okay. So you guys are very clear about it. Okay, just give me a second. Yes. Nice. Anything? Any questions? I thought someone unmuted themselves.
Can you show the table once?
Yes,
I
sure.
need to take a screenshot.
No problem.
Thanks, done.
So I can't draw a line. Let's see. That's fine. Right? So yeah. So now we come to Python syntax. So sorry for the thing like today I won't be writing things on collab in the sense like well I tried doing it on collab but the things like files were not getting imported. So that's the usual nature of collab. You need to import something else to use that file. Right. So I want you guys to see the outputs. I will do that after this class so that you can see. So and the collab file is on the drive by the way, and the drive link is in the group out column. Right. So we are doing a reading of file now. So we'll go to one by one to each of this reading of file. So there are like three functions to read. One is just read. Second is read line, and third is read lines. Right. So I will just write the syntax for these syntax. So first you need to open the file. So let x is equal to. And another thing is what is the valid mode that you need to be in, right? So should be opened in what mode it should be opened in? Any idea? I will show you the table as well. In order to read the file, what are the valid modes? Modes. I said not modes. Modes. There are more than one. Right?
R plus, W plus, and
Correct.
E plus.
So should be open in R or R plus or W plus or A plus. These all four modes allow me to read the file. Right. So just like open sample.txt and by default it starts. I don't need to write it. Right. So I will write data 1 is equal to f dot read. Right. So as I told, f is an object of the is an file object, right? So f is a file object. So this is an file object. So it has some functions, right? They open it through the R mode, it will gain three kind of functions. So it will have accessibility to these three functions. Right? So one is f dot read. So read is the function and you're calling it through f dot read, right? And suppose the next thing is data 2 and f dot read line. And then I have data 3, which is f dot read line. So the basic difference are, let me copy paste it here. Copy. So read line, it reads the whole content. Read line, it will just read one line. Read one line. And read line, read all lines and store them in list. Store them in list. So we'll give you an example for understanding. So by the way, syntax is clear, right? A read, readline, and readlines are the functions for the file object. So you just need to call using by putting dot after the object, right? Is this clear? At least syntax wise it is clear how to use these functions. Functionality I'm going to do now, right? So functionality in the sense, suppose your dummy file sample.txt, sorry. Yes, this is.
Your voice is not coming clear.
Yes, I was telling. So by syntactically, is it clear, right? How to use read, readline, and readline? I'm going to talk about functionality, but syntactically, is it clear? You just need to use that function name after putting a dot after that object. That object is the file object opened in read mode. So suppose this is sample.txt, and I have line 1 here, line 2 here, line 3 till line 10, suppose, right? So what will read give me? Read will just give me everything. So in the sense, in Python, if you know, enter whatever, enter new line, enter new line or new line is just slash n, backslash n, right? So what will it return? It will return me line 1 slash n, line 2 slash n till slash n line 10, right? So it will return me everything. It will read the whole file. But read line, if I am running it from the first line, it will just give me line 1. And read lines, if I use read lines of the text file, I will get line 1, line 2, and they're separated by commas in the list. Is it clear? The functionality, how they are different. Read will do read everything as a string. Read line, read liner will just read a specific line. Read lines will read all the lines, but it will store each line as the element of a list. Right? Is it clear? Yes. And if you're new to it, you need to like remember things for now, but after a point it will become more clear. And after opening file also, one more thing is that you need to close the file as well. So you write f.close. So you have opened it and you need to close it as well. Right? Otherwise it will keep on hanging in the garbage space of the code. That's all. So now I will ask a very simple question. So you can take it as a quick question. Suppose I have given you a file name.txt and I have written, suppose Vardhan here, Wiki, who else? Suppose Swati, right? So these are there, and this is like a new line. The names are on new lines, right? So suppose my code is f is equal to open name.txt. So without the parameter of mode, it will just take it as read. Then I write data is equal to read lines. So it's with f, right? Read line, sorry. And if you write f dot read line. You have to tell me what will this give me. Print data 0 3. No, wait. I have made it slightly more complex. It's not very direct. See it properly. Tell me the answer for this. D and C. Yes.
D and C.
So this would be clear that this is data of 0, right? And this is data of 1. I just need to access the third index element, which is D, and here is C. No, it shouldn't be worse than wiki because I'm accessing the third element of data 0. So it's even like it's going slightly more inside. Hierarchically, it's in the second generation, right? So data 0 is version, data 1 is wiki, but I'm going through the third and second index respectively also. Right? So answer would be just, we should imply answer is D, comma C. Right? Okay, there is no comma by the way. When you print that comma is just to separate the value. I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear, right? The functionality of read lines, and read lines. So let's move on to writing. This is slightly more simpler in the sense I don't think it has like 3 functions. I think it only has 2 functions. Let me just check. Okay. For now I have only written, okay, I have 2 functions, so let me just write it. So first function is write and second is write line. And there's some input here. Here also there are some input. And we will talk about what kind of input it can take, this function, right? So as usual, I will just open a file, f is equal to open sample .txt. And what are the valid modes? Can you tell me? Valid mode. Anybody? W. Correct.
W and W plus.
Somebody told A plus, but the issue with A plus is you're appending. That's slightly different from writing mode, right? And R plus also, if you see, oh, I missed R plus is also there. It helps you to both read and write. But the constraint is file must exist, so that's why I won't include it. So I want the functionality of write mode. If the file does not exist, it will create. If it exists, it will overwrite everything. So those kind of functionality I need, right? But yeah, it will still allow me to write. To use these functions, these still can be used on W A append mode, because append will just keep on writing from where you ended, right? It will help you. You can still use this function to write it. Then R plus, W plus, and A plus, right? So all these are valid. In all these modes, you can use the write function or write line. So for now, we'll just put W. So suppose, okay. Now I write f dot write something and f dot write line. So what is the data type of the thing which is returned by read lines? Anybody remember? What is the data type of the things returned by read lines?
String.
Read lines gives me a list of strings, right? Similarly, write lines will take a list of strings, right? So this is a list of strings, and this is the string. This is just a string, not string. This is just a string, right? So that's how you do it. And after that, I just close the file. Right? So that's how you use it. So you just need to be careful. For write, the input is a string. For write line, the input is list of strings. Is it clear? Right? So if you're not done file handling, you need to remember these things. So it's not like you can't understand. You can understand, but the thing is there are too many terminologies. That could only be the issue. Right? Is it clear? So we have done reading and writing and appending. So appending is no difference, right? If we don't, okay, so those kind of issues happen when you are going to a complex setting in a sense. So if you don't, okay, by the way, I have made it f dot close with brackets is a function. Right, so if you don't close the file, it will be still open in what do you call, I forgot the name, the Slack memory or something. So it's still open in the sense. So if you want to edit or modify in some other code where you have access that, so it will cause some issue. Right. So until you have a complex system, it's completely fine if you don't close. If you close your code, it will stop. But if you are running multiple codes, which is accessing that file, until you close it, the code will get confused and it will make some weird changes in the file. Right. So that's the only thing. Yes. So in appending, so just set a note for appending as well. For append mode, same function applies, but it writes from where you ended. Right, so we have done both reading, writing, and appending. Is it clear for whatever we have done till now? Let me just go over them as well. So we talked about modes, RWA, and their variant, which is the plus variant. Sorry. Then we talked about three functions: read, readline, associate to a file object. Right. So you need a file object. For writing also, you need a file object which is F here, and I was using write and writeline. So I'll just give you 2 minutes. If you have doubts, you can ask in these topics. Then I will move forward. Yes.
Excuse me, sir. Uh, how can we use these functions in writing a file? Like write mode, append mode, R plus, W plus, and A plus.
Mhm.
Can we write by
Yes,
using all these
whatever I have written
functionality?
here, F is equal to open, that is actual Python code. It doesn't look like that, but it's actually Python code. If you write F is equal to open, the file name with these modes, you can use this function. Just to note, write will only take a string, write lines will only take list of strings. Right? Is it clear? Yes. In
Yes, sir.
collab
Thank
file
you.
also I will share it to you. So the only issue I was facing with collab was it was not showing me output for some reason. So that's why I'm not running it. Even if I type it there, you won't see the output. So there is no benefit anyway. Right. So now I will do a very different topic related to file handling, but for a different file. So till now we were dealing with only txt file. So I will write dealing with txt file .txt file. Right, so we just dealt with txt file. So now we are going to deal with CSV file itself. So anybody knows what's the CSV file?
Comma separated values.
Okay, so these are the
Files.
comma separated values. So these are extremely useful in Excel sheets. So if you just open some spreadsheet in your Microsoft Excel, if you see when you want to download or export that, you will see an option of CSV file as well, right? So wherever there is a column, instead of a column, it is substituted by a comma. That's right. So these are the comma separated values. They're extremely useful in SQL, DBMS, and Excel work. Yeah, but the function for these are slightly different. So in order to access, the functions like read lines or write lines, you don't need to import anything. These are inbuilt in Python. So you do just like using minimum and maximum, which I did in the first lecture, right? So these things are already inbuilt. You don't need to import as well these modules. But to read a CSV file, which is a special case, so you need to import CSV. Import CSV. So this was not required for txt file. right? So now I will also show you a different way to read a file. Sorry, to open a file, not read, open a file. New way to open a file. So till now I had to use close, right? In order to avoid the close to write, like you don't have to write the close again and again. So there is a way. So you write with open. So there is an indentation here, by the way. So whatever you write, it's just like for or if there is a block, you can make a body block inside, intended inside, using with word, with keyword, this keyword, with. So I am using with open data.csv in some mode. So here the modes are still same. So by default it is R, right? As F. Now this is the body. Do all the required tasks on F here, right? Does it make sense? This is a new way of opening a file. You don't need to write f.close now. So as soon as the body, the execution of the body is over, and it comes out of the with block, it will stop running, right? Is it clear? It's just like for an if. As soon as you come out of the block, the procedure related to that just vanishes. So the local thing related to that goes away. Here also with open, this open as F is a local thing related to this block, right? So that's the thing. I will show how to read file also. So now I will do a reading and writing. So the common statement is import CSV. You can't avoid it. Import, let me not write it double. I'll just copy paste there. Import CSV. Then you write the same statement with open sample dot CSV as F. Right? So let me copy paste it there. Right? So now I will tell you the syntax. So I just said R is equal to CSV dot reader. So instead of read, I have the function name reader. So can you see a difference? Anybody can tell me? Except the name reader, there is a difference here.
F.
Yes, correct. So there I was that F was already a file object. So that file, the object itself has those functions, right? Read lines or read line. But here I'm using CSV. That the CSV has that function reader, which to whom I'm giving the parameter F, right? So I'm giving the file F to csv.reader. So in that previous thing, while reading text file, the file itself had that property of using read or read lines automatically. So don't need to get it from somewhere else, right? So that is the difference. You just need to take care of that. But it's fine if you don't remember the syntax now. It's completely fine. You can refer to them. It's not like you have to mug it up, right? That's stuff. And suppose now for writing, I have w is equal to csv dot writer, like reader writer. F. Then I have w dot write row. So write row is like write line. Sorry, write row is like write lines without multiple instances of list, right? So it will just take a list and will just print. It will just write it in the file. So this is list of strings. That's all. List of strings. So I'll just mark the things which are slightly new. csv.writer and csv.reader and write row. Right? So syntactically, is it clear? What are the syntax? Right? that's all for CSV. We'll do the last topic for today, which is dealing with JSON style. So we have covered most of the the most popular text files, right? So example of text files are .txt, CSV, and JSON. So this is the last topic dealing with JSON file. .json. So for this also, I'm not going to over explain things, just syntax. We just need to import JSON. Just like CSV. Then you write with open h.json. By default reading mode f. Data is equal to JSON. So again, it's different from the reading text file. Text file is very inbuilt inside the Python system. That's why I don't need to import it like this. Here, instead of read or reader, I have load. Right? So that's the difference. So JSON.load. It will load the file. And I can print the data. And similarly for writing, whatever I want to write, I will just save it here. In JSON file, the thing is, as like comma separated values were there in CSV, here we have dictionary, right? So suppose I have dictionary names associated to suppose my name Varshan, and city is Chennai, right? So how will I write it? So first of all, I need to change the mode. It should be write mode as f, right? And then the function is JSON dot dump, and just put the data, right? So now you got two set of new functions. First is dump, and the first one is load, and the second one is dump. It's quite synonymous to what are the synonyms of read and write, right? So loading, reading, reader, writer, dump, and write. These kind of are synonymous, right? So that's the only point. So let me just go over the things. So we talked about mode, reading, writing, appending. Then we talked about read line, and read lines have like different format of data structure they give out after reading it, right? Then we write lines, and then we talk about CSV files. So for CSV, you need to import CSV and use reader and writer to write things. For writer, you need to you first import, and then you first run it using write to get a file object, and then use write rows to write. And similarly for JSON, I have load and dump, right? Is it clear? I mean, these are just syntax. There's nothing like logical things going there, right? Is it clear? Slightly, in a syntactically. And any doubt? So I will share the questions as well for the hacker. Yes.
What are JSON files? Why are they
Yes, correct.
used?
So JSON files in the sense, one second. So just like this, in CSV file, you have row 1, row 2, row 3, right? So let me just give an example here as well. So if CSV is this, so I will just have like suppose Varshan Chennai, and the first block I have name and city, right? So CSV format is like this. It will save things like this with comma separated, but JSON is slightly more complex looking, but like slightly more advanced in the sense it's pretty new. So JSON format is pretty new compared to CSV. So instead of putting it in comma separated things, I just put it in form of dictionary. As I already mentioned before. Okay, let me just copy paste that also. So JSON is just collection of dictionaries. Not collection, it's set of dictionaries. So this is a collection. Right? So that's the basic difference. CSP is like Thomas Appending, JSON is dictionary. Right? Does it make sense? That's why while I was dumping it, I had put a dictionary. It will give you a dictionary when you print it. Yeah. Any doubt? So the thing is, we need to practice writing these. So I will share in the collab also. I will do it by tomorrow for sure. So you can just try to. You can't actually until you have the file in the local system, but you can just check the output. Yes. So binary files we are not dealing for now. Next session, let's check what we are going to do. I'm also not sure. So next session, okay, it starts with Flask. Yes. So the title is Flask Unleashed. The web begins here. Yes. We'll talk about like web development using Flask. So the Python sessions are kind of over. So now we're going to move forward to web development. Any doubt? So you can ask doubts from the previous lecture as well. If there are no doubts, then let's call it a day. Right? I will share the collab file as well to you guys to the drive. Right? Just big day.
Can you
It's
share
there
the
in the drive, right?
resources?
I have updated it till episode 3. Yes, it's there in the
Okay,
WhatsApp
I will check.
description.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, somebody asked it out. Can we open the file in which we are writing code for? Okay, let me go with the chat first. Can we open the file in which we are writing the code for reading users? Yes, hello.
यस सॉरी मैंने अभी ज्वाइन किया लेकिन ये फाइल हैंडलिंग की जरूरत हमें क्यों पड़ती है?
Okay, so have you ever used file? Yes, hello. I got your question.
Hello.
Have you ever used file? Rashmika, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, my question is, have you ever used
Okay.
file in your system, local system? So
Yes.
if you just write it and you just store it, you never edit or something. So the main problem is just to like, if you have a file, in general when you have data, right? So in banking system also, if you have data, so as soon as you take out some money or you deposit some money, you need to make some edits, right? Or you need to update. And sometimes you need to delete that account also. So you need to just overwrite. And sometimes you need to add more accounts. So you just update. So these kind of things are there. So in that way, we do file handling. Handling means just, okay, handling would be hard to explain the time. Like how do you take care of it, how do you organize it? That's the keyword.
Your voice is not
Yeah, I was
clear
telling
now.
handling means how do you organize reading, writing, appending, that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I was reading the chat actually. Somebody asked it out. Can we open the file in which we are writing the code for reading? If it's already opened, I'm not sure. If you're, is it like recursively opening? Are you there, Shayantan? Could you explain me the question by unmuting yourself? I think that would be better. I'm slightly confused here.
So suppose we open the, suppose we are writing a file, example.py, and we are opening that example.py in that file itself. So
I'm not sure
can we do
actually,
that?
that's a good thing. So, okay, so you are saying that I have already opened that file and I'm not closed it. So before closing only, I'm again opening it, right? But I feel
Yes,
what will
yes.
happen, it will update the mode. So if you had opened it using write mode and then you again open it using read mode, it will update it. I think the mode is get updated, but I also need to check. Right? Anything? Yes.
Okay,
Anything
sir.
else?
Sir, what will you discuss now? Like,
No,
will
for
you
now
do
I'm not
any
doing any
questions?
questions. So the thing with the homework for me is I have to share you collab file, where I will just whatever the code I've written here, just write it there, but I will show the output as well. So either you can also see what kind of things are happening. That's all. So for today, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.